learn how to beat yourself.
So
If I give you all the tools on how to beat me, and I beat you,
I already know how to
can
beat you, bro.
nobody beat me.
I already know how to beat you.
Shakur Stevenson just delivered one of the sharpest boxing performances seen in recent years as he dominated elite champion and former pound-for-pound star Teofimo Lopez. From the first moment it was clear this was Stevenson's night. The fight looked almost too comfortable. So how did it become so simple for him? The answer is in the details. From the opening round, Teo did exactly what people expected and came forward with pressure. He threw different feints and angles trying to confuse Shakur. But Stevenson stayed calm and controlled distance with his lead hand and smooth footwork. That control forced Lopez into a lead hand battle where Teo had to test the space before trying sudden shifts to surprise him. This decision played directly into Shakur's plan and became a major reason he won those exchanges and the fight overall. His team clearly studied how Teofimo attacks southpaws. That shifting style can close distance fast and catch fighters unaware. But it also leaves the attacker wide open for a moment. Teo would square up and reach too far. Shakur would simply step back. With his high awareness and sharp timing, he fired fast counter jabs instead of wild hooks. That choice kept him safe defensively and delivered damage faster and cleaner. He even mixed in a few well-timed check hooks to seal his control of the fight.
I seen Teo when we was in the amateurs. Everything that I seen was there tonight. Like the things that I kind of saw on tape and on film, it was all in front of me tonight. And there is benefits from watching tape.
Another key reason was how Stevenson used his jab with real snap, just enough power to stop Lopez from fully committing, which slowly drained his confidence. From the early rounds there was a clear gap in skill, or at least in how each fighter applied it. Teo relied more on instinct and looked unsure about how to close the distance or deal with Shakur's jab. At times when he attacked and missed, he seemed to freeze for a second, unsure of what to do next. With his low lead hand and cross guard, this left him open, and Stevenson punished him again and again with clean counter jabs. While Shakur stayed calm, landing sharp counters and short combinations, there were moments where Teo looked so vulnerable that it felt like he might not even last all 12 rounds. To his credit, he did adjust later by focusing more on the body, throwing jabs and right hands to the midsection and looking for hooks to the liver. But by then he was chasing the fight, and Stevenson read it perfectly, either countering him again or stepping out of range and resetting. Because of that, Shakur chose a safer approach late on, likely avoiding any wild shots from an unpredictable puncher like Lopez. He stayed smart, knowing he was well ahead on the cards. While a finish would have been exciting, the matchup itself was always tough for Teo, both stylistically and in terms of the level he was facing. His corner did not help much either. Another coach tried pushing the body attack earlier, but it came too late. His father's loud presence dominated the corner, and honestly it seemed to take energy away from Teo rather than lift him. Personally, I wanted to hear more clear and useful advice like the kind McKinley was offering, but once again it felt drowned out by his father. Before the fight I said Teo would need to counter the counterpuncher, yet even he found himself getting pushed back, unable to fire because Shakur's jab and constant small movements killed his rhythm completely. Every little step and hand placement disrupted his timing and stopped him from settling into the fight. And when he finally tried to commit and land something, he was often met with sharp, heavy counters in return. From start to finish, Stevenson controlled him with the lead hand and never let go of that control. You only need to look at Teo's face to see the story. With his Philly shell or cross guard, there were always gaps available. In that open stance matchup, Stevenson kept finding those openings again and again. Even Shakur himself spoke about this after the fight, stressing how important the jab was and how it became the key that unlocked everything. What made it more impressive was how relaxed Stevenson stayed under pressure, never rushing, never forcing exchanges, and never giving Lopez the chaos he needed to thrive. The pace was set by Shakur from the opening moments, and Teo was forced to react instead of dictate. Each round slowly drained Lopez both mentally and physically as he struggled to adjust. The crowd could feel the shift as confidence grew on one side and faded on the other. Shakur was not just winning rounds, he was breaking habits and removing options. Every time Lopez tried to reset, the jab was there waiting. Every time he looked for momentum, it was taken away before it could build. This level of control is rare, and it showed a fighter operating at full awareness. By the later rounds it was clear the outcome was decided not by power but by intelligence, patience, and execution. The fight became a lesson in timing, distance, and discipline, and Stevenson delivered it without ever losing focus.
How important was it for you against a guy like Teofimo to be able to control those first few rounds and take the lead early on?
Like I said, I watched the tape. I also told my team before the fight, I said they're going to say I got one of the best jabs in the world tonight. And tonight I went out there and I just used my jab over and over and made it a weapon, and he couldn't stop it. And for the future young fighters that's coming up behind me, the jab is one of the most important punches, and I hope that they add that to their games too.
This is exactly what makes Shakur Stevenson so special, because he takes away everything you do best and leaves you with nothing to rely on, and that level of control is something very few fighters ever reach. His ring awareness, timing, and discipline force opponents to think instead of react, and once that hesitation appears, the fight is already slipping away. Every round he builds pressure without rushing and slowly removes options until the other fighter feels trapped. Styles always matter in boxing, and Lopez has consistently struggled with slick southpaw boxers who move well, control distance, and stay patient, and Shakur represents the highest peak of that style. This win places Stevenson in a powerful position with many paths open ahead of him, and each one carries massive potential. He mentioned Conor Benn, which feels like a strange matchup from a pure boxing angle, even though it would generate huge attention and money. From a competitive standpoint, it makes more sense to see him tested against elite fighters at 135, 140, or even 147, where skill levels are high and legacies are built. At 135 there are hungry, dangerous names like Schofield, Muratalla, and Abdullah Mason, while 140 offers tough challenges with Dalton, Smith, Russell, and Hitchens. If he moves to 147, the spotlight only grows with possible fights against Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia, which would be massive events. The dream matchup for many fans is Tank Davis, but with ongoing issues that fight feels unlikely for now. Still, the future looks wide open for Shakur, and every move he makes will shape his legacy. As for Teofimo, this defeat does not erase his talent or career. He remains a major name with real options at 140 and plenty of big fights available. A push toward becoming a 3-weight world champion could redefine his story. The main concern remains the corner, because while his father is not a bad trainer, the strong presence can sometimes block clear practical guidance. Teofimo is an instinct-driven fighter, and to get the best from him he needs the right matchups at the right time. I would love to hear what stood out to you most from Shakur Stevenson's performance and what you want to see next for both fighters. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.